Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Brosen. This time, we are back at home. We are not in the studio, so we are back to online and in our little squares. But in those little squares, we have some amazing guests. We have the writers of The Chosen. 2 out of the 3 anyways. We have Ryan and Tyler. Welcome, the writers.
What's up?
Anna. What's up, guys?
What's up? So then also we have Ben and Sam joining us. No Willie, no Mitch, but we got a couple of the bros here to get through it. So let's get into it. I mean, the writers, you guys have been the writers with Dallas since the very first episode up until now, correct? It's just been you guys.
Just the 3 of us, yep.
And Tyler has one more episode than I do.
Oh,
the Shepherd? He was
the Shepherd.
OG. Shepherd.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that, actually.
Gee.
Yes.
But we met Ryan while we were working on the Shepherd. Dallas and I wrote the Shepherd together, and then we consulted Ryan on it. So he's been a part of everything, though.
Now, so had the 3 of you written together before the first episode of The Chosen?
No.
Wow. Man, Dallas made a lot of bold moves on The Chosen. He'd never worked with me as an AD, never worked with Aki as a cinematographer, never worked with the 2 writers. He made some bold choices of like working with new people on like starting off a new show. It's kind of pretty crazy.
I mean, that's been the whole thing though, right? He's just like, he gives it up.
Yeah.
He chose to finally work with good people.
No comment. I was blown away. I got to tell you, just going back to that moment, Dallas and I were talking about another project altogether, right? It was a feature thing, and he kept, we would do like a story call, and then at the end of the call, he'd be like, "Hey, can I send over the Shepherd? I mean, the Shepherd thing I was telling you about." And so I would get it, and I was like, it was such a high concept. Let me clarify. High concept sounds like complicated and stuff. It's not. It's the opposite. It's like when you see a movie poster and you know immediately what this movie is about. You can fill in all the blanks, like what women want. A guy can hear the thoughts of a womanizer, no less, can hear the thoughts of women go, right? Played by Mel Gibson. Helen Hunt steals his heart. It's like it just fills itself in. So like this was like this crazy high concept idea that like you could do biblical stories. Tyler and Dallas had been working in this way where you could do biblical stories. You could editorialize them by focusing on characters in the margins, right? Characters whose stories you only follow from like A and then pick them back up at F. And then what did they do between BDE and like make that editorial. You could make it emotional. You could take them on a journey. And this was like brilliant because, there's so much pushback just in any, deeply rooted fan culture of changing or co-opting the actual story for your own purposes, particularly the Bible, something as sacred as the Bible. But these guys had sort of put this thing behind an electrified fence and then taken you through the story of through the eyes of people who have been there before. And now after 6 seasons, we take it for granted, but like it was a game changer for me. And I just thought, you guys just need some jokes. Because people are going to laugh at the serious stuff if you don't give them like a release, So that was like the worst thing ever to Google biblical jokes. So we put our heads together, but that was it. Like Tyler and Dallas were spinning these things up. They've been on this for years, honestly. Tyler.
So Ryan, you're saying you got hired just for the jokes? That's the only thing you add to the Chosen, the writing is just the jokes?
And just to hype them, just to be in the corner going, "Oh, this is such a smart idea!" Like Dallas.
I mean, it's why you're the perfect person to do shows an animated series then, because it's a lot of jokes in there too. So.
Right. It's a lot of people who are really good at their jobs.
So how did it start? Like, how did Dallas come to you? Did he come to you first, Tyler, and then added you to Ryan? Or like, how did he birth the idea? and bring it to you guys to go, all right, let's start writing this thing?
Yeah, so I knew Dallas because I had been a video editor for him, and we had actually made some other vignettes that were sort of Chosen-esque. Like we had done one about the guy who cuts down the tree that becomes the wood that is the cross. We had done a few like other biblical vignettes or whatever, and then I quit that job of video editing for him because I was like, I want to be a writer, I don't want to be editing. And he was like, why? You're such a good video editor. And I was like, well, being good at something isn't the same as it being what you want to do or what you're called to do. And he was really good about that. He's like, yeah, then if that's what you need to do, then, go on your way. So I had quit editing for him and I was off like on my own, just writing in Chicago. And then he emailed me and he was like, I have this idea for a short film about a shepherd. And, he like, send me a treatment. And we went over some stuff. And, it's funny because so much as you guys know of the Chosen, there's always extreme weather. The Sermon on the Mount in the freezing cold to feeding the 5,000 in the super, super hot.
Yep.
Sam, I don't know where you were in the house or if you were at like a youth group thing or something, but I remember I drove out to the house in Elgin to finalize the script with him. And it was like one of the worst winters Chicago's ever had. It was 2014. And I think Amanda was like, you need to like stay. You can't drive back. Like you need to like crash here tonight.
I do remember that, I do remember Tyler staying with us for, was it more than a couple nights?
Well,
or was it
you guys wanted it to be more because the roads were icy and they were like, he's going to die. But it was just, for me, it was one night. I was like, I can make it back in the afternoon.
Yeah. That winter is a core memory because that winter lasted for, I think, like 2 months at least of just heavy snow. For context, I've known Tyler since I was very, very young. Tyler, I remember you doing big monologues for our Good Friday services and doing these incredible, beautiful monologues that we've been trying to find on YouTube for years. So, I don't
think they exist anywhere.
They have to.
I don't think
they're some of the best things ever.
Is Tyler also a Sam Jenkins babysitter? Half of our guests have been Sam babysitters. So.
That's true. James Cunningham, Kirk Waller.
No way.
Yeah.
No, Tyler never. In 2014, I was 13, so that might have been a little.
You still needed babysitting
much.
For sure at 13.
That's probably true.
But the Chosen, it was like a sign of what's to come. It was like birthed in weather extremism.
That's hilarious.
And it has remained that way. I would love it if next year for season 7, if it's just smooth sailing and the weather's nice every day, but we'll see what we can. If we can end on a more mild note than we started, that would be nice.
Does anyone have a wooden plank for me to knock on right now? Because we would love that so much.
Yeah. So then you go and write The Shepherd with Dallas, and then was Chosen already an idea like when you guys were writing The Shepherd, or then how did The Chosen then birth out of that?
No, so then we made that, and then it like we wrote it, then the church that Dallas was working at, they didn't have the money to make it that year, so it sat on a shelf, and then they eventually did get made, and then once it had been shown in the church, Sam, correct me if you remember some of this history differently, but I'm pretty sure it kind of made the rounds like online, and then people saw it, and Dallas, I don't know exactly when he had the idea, but he called me and he said, I think we can turn this concept into a whole show. And so he came to my apartment in Chicago and we like edited together a sizzle reel of various like little Jesus vignettes we had done for the church that he was working at the time.
To the song of Chains by David Crowder Band. Yeah.
David Crowder. Yeah.
I think you're 90% right. I think it was sent to his different filmmaker friends before it became the idea of like he used it to send it to his movie mentor, who sent it to Jason Blum, who is the head of Blumhouse, one of the big movie studios, and he saw that, knew to work with him, and then once he had the idea for the show, then I think it started making the rounds, and that was his video at the end where he's like, "Hey, Dallas, creator of The Chosen here, and I have a great idea." Like that kind of one of those videos. That was the start of that.
Yeah,
the one we've seen way too many times now.
One I've seen played in my house way too many times. Yes.
So then, how did Ryan? How did you get pulled into the mix then? Before it like took off and you guys actually started writing? Because you were on before you wrote the first 4 episodes, right?
Yeah. So like I was saying, I was working on a feature with Dallas, and he's told the story a million times, much better than me. But he was doing the first of his two picture deal with Blumhouse, and it came out, and the picture that they made together didn't perform, and Blumhouse had to reassess, and Dallas really felt like he had blown it, and it wasn't too long after that because we were working on that second picture for Blumhouse when he was bringing me The Shepherd. And so I was getting a peek at how Tyler wrote. I was getting a peek at this amazing concept. Getting comfortable with the idea of writing a joke in a Bible show. Like, that was crazy to me. Like, I almost I was basically saying, like, you need something to like let the audience off the hook. Because if you're earnest, and then miracle, like, your nervous system can't handle it. So like, I just thought a joke or so anyway, they were ahead of me though. These guys were already doing something pretty special. And so basically Dallas was like, we might have the opportunity to make this into a television show. Do you know how to do that? And I was like, let's go.
So the answer is yes, I know how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been learning along the way. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that you just, like I was saying, the tone, the jokes. Can we put a joke in here? Is that okay? Are we breaking the Bible? Obviously, the answer was no. You can't also. I'm sure this is true in any aspect of film production. You just can't throw two people together and expect that it's going to work out every time. Like, Tyler is just like a dyed-in-the-wool, like, writer's writer. Dallas knows what things crystallize for Dallas cinematically, like, super quickly. And I iterate well. So what we ended up with was something that not only worked immediately, but we also actually kind of like each other.
Yeah.
Well, I think is super helpful.
Yeah, that was actually like my very next question is, I assume up until this point, you guys probably write stuff yourself or with one other person maybe, but to most of the time you're writing yourself. How did you navigate that when you sat down to go, we're going to write 4 episodes with 3 people? Like, how does that even work? How did you navigate that?
It was so crazy. I mean, it was 8 years ago this month. So it was 2017.
Wow.
We made like these kind of rough outlines on huge pieces they're like giant Post-its with markers. And I just remember they were like, because I had done the first draft of The Shepherd, Dallas was like, Tyler, you do the first draft, and then Ryan will do the second, and then whatever. Just had this like conveyor belt idea. And I remember not knowing how, even though I've written plays and screenplays, I wasn't sure how to pull this many ideas together. Because usually when you write something, there's kind of like just maybe one protagonist where it's a really clear setup of the plot. And what we were pitching for the pilot for episode 1 had a lot of different things going on between, Mary Magdalene as Lilith, Nicodemus, Peter, Andrew, Gaius, Matthew. I didn't know how to take that many characters on a journey. And so I remember calling Ryan from, I remember the coffee shop I was at in Chicago. It was called Heritage Bikes. It was like a bike repair shop, but also coffee. And I was just like, I don't know how to do this, but he was so gracious and kind of walked me through it step by step. And I just spit out and cranked out a really massively long and cumbersome first draft. I still have it somewhere. I need to look at it. And
that's cool.
Yeah, those first few episodes, I don't know, Ryan, you knew what you were doing. I definitely didn't. I was just feeling my way toward the emotions, the characters, and every successive episode after that, you really sharpened my craft and you tightened up the process. But no, to answer your question, Adam, we did not start as like a well-oiled machine. Those first few episodes, it was like a lot of volleying back and forth. It was like a ping pong match.
Yeah, I mean that is Tyler, it's super flattering to hear you say that, because I think that every time you start a process, the shape of it is gonna be a little bit different. You know, you are trying to um, bring a spirit of collaboration. You never know how much spirit you're going to have to bring. There's certain people who don't like to collaborate. There's certain people that need it shared with them in a certain way. Cadence with people. What are people going to be territorial about? I think one of the things about this project that's remarkable to me is that we never gave a crap. We were just like, let's just get it.
Yeah.
Let's get after it. We shared information freely. It didn't feel like, Dallas had to be like, the great purveyor of all things that would eventually film. He was open to the process. Tyler, as much as you feel like, um, the making the sausage was uncomfortable and you didn't know exactly how this would work. None of us did, because it's a 3-person equal parts writer's room, right?
Hmm.
And what you were bringing was like the real content. You and Dallas like were bringing real content and real editorial, like world one perspective on this material. And I was the iterator. I was saying, hereabouts, we need a moment where it looks like things are really breaking through for a character, but it turns out that, at the top of that peak, there's 5 more. And you would go, Peter catching the fish to pay his tax debt, but now he's got to quit his job, because
Hmm.
you guys, you were the content experts. So, as out of water as you might have felt just in that process in those first days, you were bringing exactly what we needed every day. And there was never a time, I was just FYI, there was never a time I was downstream going, well, this is no good. I don't know how to do with this. Like, it was always what we needed. It was crazy. It's crazy that this even worked. Because Dallas could have been super just like, no, no, no. Or he could have been like, what about it this way? I heard your opinion. He was the great collaborator, facilitator of all this. And he trusted us with so much. We just sharpened each other throughout the process. So I gotta tell you, it shouldn't have worked.
Well, and it seemed like it wouldn't work, like that's the thing. No one knew about the
Oh,
show.
100%.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just kind of
Yeah.
like we were so free to fail, and then we didn't fail.
I've just to give you a quick of my experience. As soon as Dallas like called me to hire or to tell me about it and think about hiring me, I was like, as soon as he told me the concept of everything, I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. There's no chance. And he's like, let me send you the scripts. Then he sent me the scripts, and I was like, I'm in. I mean, immediately, it was the best script I had read at that point in my career that somebody had shared with me to work on. I was immediately like, this is so well written. I'm in. I was like, I don't know who's playing Jesus or who's playing his characters, but I'm in.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny that you say you were struggling with all of these different characters and all these different arcs with a show about Jesus. There's so much cast to start with season 1 with so many characters to focus on. Now we're in season 6, and there's not one consistent day with any cast member because there's so many cast members, and you guys are developing every single one of them. All of them have a purpose. Like, it could be up to Nicodemus to Matthias to Jairus to Zebediah. Every single person has a part to play. Did this probably goes without saying, but did this develop over time with writing the show? Like, you're like, okay, we could do it with these 8 characters. Now we can do it with these 60 characters because we know how all these threads connect. And were there? I have another question
It's
that
a
can
good
be saved for
question.
later, but that's what I want to know about the character arcs
It's
of all these
a good
characters.
question. I can give you my answer, but Tao, what's your take on that?
Well, it wasn't our idea for there to be 60 main characters, but we're working with source material. Like if
Right.
it were up to us, we would have written a show with 5 main characters. But it's Game of
I
Thrones
wish you
scope.
would have. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I was just
but I just
going
had
to
to cut
say,
it.
yeah, I was just going to say it's like Game of Thrones, as you were just saying, where
Yeah.
there's characters all
Yeah.
over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't given a choice because they wanted us to adhere to the Bible. Imagine. And there's just so many characters in the Bible story, so we couldn't just be like, well, erase Nicodemus, or we never need to meet Pontius Pilate, or like Caiaphas is a one-man band. He shouldn't have people around him. Those weren't options. We had to explore the full range and the context of all of them. What was your
And
answer,
Yeah.
it
Ryan?
always felt like, and nine, because if you look at the beginning of season 2 and you go, oh, they didn't even introduce 3 of the disciples until season 2, right? So we really were conscious of like what kind of load it was for the audience. It was constantly alphabet soup, and we actually make like a self-conscious joke about like all the shma names. And
Yeah.
we sort of had the great good fortune of having real-time feedback because of how we release the show,
Sure.
typically
Yeah.
on permissionless spaces like YouTube and Facebook. We were always getting feedback, and people we'd hear like, who is this guy? Which one's Nathaniel? And so you can kind of get a sense of like how quickly we can do this. And it's not
Well,
like we could have like
yeah.
somebody with a mohawk and then the guy that wears the tank top and then like
Yeah, that's a good point. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But you say you go off the Bible with source material, but then there's so many original characters as well that you guys are focusing on, like Atticus, Tamar, Yanni, all these other characters. So I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. Where it's like, yeah, we had source material, but also you created characters around the characters. Where now in season 6, all these characters have a purpose to play. Where the guy that carries the cross for Jesus has an entire backstory himself. Like all these different people have backstories and roles to play. So it's so impressive, and it's not appreciated enough because it's so rare to see that where every single one isn't forgotten. There's not a single character that's forgotten where you're like, oh crap, we have to add Gadara here, even though we just throw him in there. No, Gadara has something to do. Something like it's really impressive.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Ben Stockton, one of your favorite members of the Brosen. Thank you so much for giving us a listen or a watch today, whatever platform you're on. I wanted to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Trevecca Nazarene University. They are rated one of Middle Tennessee's top Christian universities. They have an outstanding film and television degree, and they're the alma mater of our very own Adam Drake. Plus, he's a professor there right now. So, if you go to Trevecca, you can not only get a film degree, but you can maybe have Adam Drake, our host of The Brosen, as your professor. How crazy would that be? All that to say, if you want to check it out and go to a fabulous school in the heart of Nashville, go check them out at trevecca.edu.
So you guys are writing this main show, but Ryan, literally in 2 days from when we're recording this, The Chosen Adventures is coming out. What was kind of like, was that easier to write, or was it more of a challenge to write because you're doing this heavy drama, just came off of the like toughest season yet, most brutal season yet, to we're going to learn about forgiving each other. Like it's so such a drastic change. I've seen the first 9 episodes and told you on set that it's wonderful, and I can't stop watching as a grown adult. But
that's awesome, man.
like we're going to be binging when
Thank
it
you.
comes out, and I'm going to be finishing it, like
Yeah.
watching Saturday morning cartoons on myself. But was
I
that
love it.
challenging, the jump from Chosen to Chosen Adventures?
Thank you for your kind words and for also plugging the show October 17th on Prime Video in the U.S. and other territories too. I would say this. I would say the way the pipeline works. Tyler and I do have times in the year where our workload isn't as intense. Maybe Dallas is carrying the water, or Tyler is, or I am. But you know, whoever's carrying it, the rest of us are just kind of like there to support, maybe getting late night texts, maybe there to read outlines and give notes, whatever we're doing. It does take up time year round, but there is time, wouldn't you say, Tyler, that are times that are more intense than others, right? You're gonna finish a pretty intense time here in November, and you're gonna kind of round the corner, take a breather. This was a matter of, I didn't take a breather. But I will say this, that there is nothing in this universe that's harder than the chosen scripts. We call it the mothership, colloquially. And I'll tell you why. Because you have to rise to Tyler's level, and you have to meet Dallas's expectations. And it makes the chosen scripts so much harder than anything else we're working on in the universe, because it's just different. It was just us in the basement and these good intentions, and you groove a sort of culture there. And Tyler brings it. He is, like, as I said, he is a pure writer, poet, idea machine. And if you don't show up, you're dropping the ball. On the Chosen Adventures, it's just different. It's just different cadence. We could have fun with it. We could go, we could figure out what the biblical backing of our story was. We could send our character on, but it's a very specific formula. Okay, between us, it's 5 points every episode. Character wakes up, wants something, goes to get it, pays a price, learns a lesson, returns home. That is the homeworky element of every 11-minute episode. Now, our job then is to take the Greek chorus that is sheep and pigeon and sort of bring the adults watching over the kids' shoulders and be like, oh, watch this. He's putting the Mento in the Pepsi, we're bringing that, and it's a release. We're doing it because we love it, because those shows themselves need their own level of intensity. But, I'm also just, the whole goal there is to surround myself with people who do their jobs way, way better than me. So, like, good animators, funny stand-up comedians, the co-creator of Jimmy Neutron to direct our episodes, like our live action cast, Paul Walter Hauser. Are you kidding me? Like, it's practically like, it's just very easy comparatively, but the result is really fun, and we do pour over it a lot of heart, a lot of sweat, and I won't say blood, but sweat and tears go into that show for sure.
Well, you've been very gracious to me in letting me see some of that process, and it is wild to just sit and watch, because there's hours of animators going over every little detail. You are paying special attention to the story. Meeting Keith Alcorn, co-creator of Jimmy Neutron, was crazy, and I got to have a couple conversations with him where I was like, "This dude created my Saturday morning cartoons. Like, this is awesome."
Nuts.
But being able to witness what I have, and hopefully we'll be able to see more, has just been like, this is almost as hard, but it's for a different reason. Like,
Sam Mishlap animating the Prince of Egypt, like, like, what am I even going to add to that conversation in some cases, right? But I'm telling you, it's a gift to be able to show up for any of this. But it's just the expectations on the mothership are just different, because I feel like Tyler and I are brothers. Dallas is our triplet, and we know what he's putting in every day. And so we want to match him. We want to show up with the intensity and the focus that he shows up with. And that's a pact. Like, we would do that show for free.
See, and I think that I'm a really big cinema head, so I'm sure, as you know, Sam is as well. But we're always going back and forth and really diving into, like, what makes a movie or a TV show great. And I think the beauty of The Chosen, especially talking to y'all, I mean, we've now talked to James, the art director, and we've talked to majority of the cast, and we've talked to Akis, and I've found that most projects that end up being well loved and just good quality and a good whatever it may be, a movie or a TV show, it's just like The Chosen here. Even on from a script level at the beginning, all the way through behind the camera, the actors in front of the camera, Adam with the on-set direction. This is all of the department heads are behind Dallas and his vision going, how do we make this possible? How do we give our best effort to make this the best that we can? And I think because it starts with y'all first and you're able to provide such a well-written screenplay and a very well-written story, it's easy for us to turn around and do our jobs because we're like, oh, now we get to contribute to this. We get to make it even better now. And I think that's what has made it such a big hit on a lot of levels. I mean, of course, other things to factor in that as well. But I think that's why it truly is becoming such a renowned show, is because it's just from the top down, it's everybody's there for that one vision.
And it goes both ways too.
Yeah.
I mean, we on the page, like you guys know what's coming to you. You're gonna be able to believe in it. And but we also whenever we write something, no matter how complex or I don't know, set piecey, with elements, we know once it's handed over to you guys, like it's gonna come to life. You're gonna the fan background is gonna show up the way they do, and you guys are gonna coordinate all of it, and yeah, we don't feel held back by like, oh, I don't know if the AD department can pull this off. We write just whatever we want to see because we know you guys will pull it off.
Well, I don't think
Yeah.
any writers have
Gosh.
ever thought about the AD department, when they're writing. Like, I mean, come on, let's be honest. Like, the AD department
No.
better just get it done,
Yeah.
It's interesting the unsaid connection between the writers and the AD team, because the number one thing that Adam, Mitch, Ben, and I are all waiting on are when are we going to get those scripts? So essentially, like, when are Ryan and Tyler going to let us start working?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
our jobs are to literally, like, we're dissecting these scripts. Adam's going to go through it. Mitch and I are going to go through it. We got to find things that potentially Adam missed or vice versa. Like, we have to carry out this vision. It's never a question of, oh, we got to tell Ryan and Tyler that we can't make this happen. It's like, all right,
It's
now
happened.
we got
It's
to
It's
account for
happened
this
before.
happening. Has it?
Sam, to your point, it's a very well made point, and it's exactly it is what we're also trying to match those expectations. And I would say, Adam, the only time maybe that this is true is on a show when you've written 7 seasons with the same AD and with the same set of notes you're going to get. If you've got 12 hallways that you don't need, why is it set in another hallway? Can we use the first hallway? Can we set this during the daytime, please? Like, so that is in our head, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to say, hey guys, send the scripts back. Like, but those conversations have become grooved. And to Sam's point, we're all sort of looking over each other's work. And because Sam is a buddy, he can come and say, hey, we you wrote page 9 twice, or you've got, he could come in the room. Adam, certainly you can come in the room. It's kind of an open door thing, and I really appreciate that. Never had an experience like it in my career.
So Tyler, you made me think of this question then when you were talking about it. What and I'm sure Ryan and Tyler, you both have separate answers for this, so the question goes to both of you. What has been one of your most favorite scenes, or even most surprising scenes that you wrote or you were part of writing? And then when it came to life, it blew your mind, like the way we filmed it. Like after it came out, you were just like, oh my gosh, I never expected to be that good. Or you guys filmed it in a way that it was just blew your mind. And you're like, I didn't expect that. What's been one of your absolute favorites in that out of our 6 seasons so far?
Wow, man, there's so many. I mean, the good news is, though, honestly, when we write things and we envision in our heads, whatever you guys bring to life is actually always better than whatever we were. It either is exactly what we were picturing, or it's like, oh, that's actually way better. But the sequence that comes to mind is something that I felt just like so moved and got chills was when we wrote the end of season 4, episode 7. So the Lazarus episode that ends with older Mary Magdalene, reciting her poem of reflection, and it has to hold a lot. Like, it's really, I remember Ryan you calling it execution dependent, which is not my favorite phrase, but it was appropriate. It was wielded correctly on your part, which is that this sequence where Mary Magdalene is saying this long kind of poetic reflection, and we're trying to capture all these different places where the characters are. You have Thomas breaking things, and you have Jesus not putting the pieces back together, and Lazarus and the different characters all, even Yusuf being woken up by the dad. Like, it really was a high wire act. And when I finally saw the rough cut, even, I was like, they did it. Like, because I was only there for probably 30-40% of those shots.
Mm.
Not even that, maybe like 25, and I hadn't seen most of it. And just the tone of where these characters were at, the lighting, their faces, just the overall mood that you guys pulled off with that. I mean, it was harrowing on the page. Like, the poem and what we were describing was like a lot to read, and then it was a lot, I know, to piece together, and some of that's in the edit. But yeah, that was one of many. And obviously, this is going to be my answer to a lot of things, but the walk on water never ceases to
Yeah.
amaze me.
Yeah. And just to brag on Dallas for a moment too, like, that's what he has done so well, all of the Chosen, of hitting the tone. Like you said, tone. I
Yeah.
mean, he just understands the tone and what he needs. Yeah. He's just, he's got all these great people that are working for him. He's got you and Ryan and the writers and Akis, who just has such a vision too. But he's so good at, like, bringing that all together and hitting the right tone and the right mood that needs to be for each moment that carries throughout the whole thing, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And another one I would say, we at this juncture when this is coming out, we can't spoil anything from season 6, but you'll know what I'm talking about. Because so many things have been executed so well, when it came time to write the season 6 scripts, we put in something very ambitious, and very surprising and unusual. And it was our biggest risk yet. And obviously we haven't seen the final product. Dallas has been sending us some samples. But what we saw on set, I mean, I knew when you guys got those scripts, it would be a new level of like, okay, so they're asking us to do what?
Yeah.
It's almost like it's almost like jumping to another genre in a way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we would not have wrote those if we didn't have 5 seasons worth of proof that you guys can handle a curveball. So
That's awesome.
Here we are.
That's
I will
so
say,
cool. That's really cool to hear.
say when I read the script, when it was my turn to get it, finally, I read that scene and went,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
and then just kept reading.
You know what? Like, Tyler's right on the money. Like, I'm so blown away by the walk on water, right? Because that was the thing we sort of, Dallas didn't want to do some big set piece and take the show to exotic locations where he'd have to do a thing that, honestly, it's a miracle. But like, we've gotten to the point with Jesus where we know he's Lord. So we don't need to see the things to have this sort of visceral impact on the audience. So he's always had this good argument that, like, look, if we're handling the show intimately and we're doing our business, right, and we see the exchange, we see a character's life change because he's touched them. The healing of the leper, the healing of the paralytic, like, we've done the miracles. It's really about what God is doing that's moving us by proxy, right? We're watching it and it's moving us, right? And that's been the concept that's driven the show. So when Dallas says, okay, I see a justified reason in the scripts to heal this relationship with Simon and Eden, to take on this set piece that is like Pirates of the Caribbean level, take us all the way to a different state, to a water tank with millions of gallons, put your crew in a little raft, effectively in the middle of the storm. He's got real faith in what can happen there. And so, like, that is 100% our captain, Dallas, leading us to that place. And then the pros that he trusts to do a thing. And that's what I always love, man. I always love. People ask me all the time, do you love hearing your words spoken by an actor? I'm like, no. You know what I like seeing is the scrolls that James Cunningham rolls like hundreds of them and puts them up. It's like I had a dream, and then I woke up and I walked into it. And it was way better than what I'd imagined.
That's so cool.
That's always the thing that's thrilling to me. Is to
You're like,
see
forget the words. I like the background. Look at that giant column.
The words are a negotiation, right? You put it out there. The actor sees something in it. Maybe it moves them. Maybe they suggest a change. Maybe Dallas wants a tweak. Maybe that moment happens too fast and you use half the words. That's always going to happen, right? But it's the sets. It's the jokes. The jokes are always impressive to me. One of the highlights of the show will forever be the end of episode 8, season 1, when Jesus has gone on ahead, talked to the woman at the well. The other guys catch up, and he's like, I have food. And he's like, who got you food?
Rabbi, we got food. What would you like?
I have food to eat that you do not know about. Who got you food?
Yeah, dude, Andrew's
like
and Noah's delivery, is who got you food? It was so. I love that line so much.
I'm like, that's a miracle, right?
You just said something there too. I think that is also unique to a writer. Is I feel like I've worked with so many writers that the words they write, that's the words it has to be. Like it needs to be this. You already said, man, it's a negotiation. It's this, and I'm like that already sets the Chosen up for success because you're open to correction from the actor or correction from Dallas or a little adjustment or whatever. Because I know I've seen a lot in the business, a lot of people I worked with where it's like the writer's like, no, this is how I wrote it and this is how it's got to be and it can't change. And so I think that already from the very beginning, from the birth of the script, you're allowing creative input, which only helps it grow. So that's awesome. That's cool here.
We found that to be the case. There are a few moments we have to take a hard line, but like the fewer of them that you can make, the better.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I love that,
especially if you trust your people.
It helps also to know. I guess maybe this is. I don't want to be overly spiritual or like alienate anyone, but there is a sense that like the show that gets made or the words that get said are kind of the ones that we're supposed to. Like these are the ones that God wanted. Like for instance. Painful things like you guys saw the original scripts for season 6, you know that we had to cut 40 pages for budget and time. And I missed those 40 pages. And so does Dallas. But like at the end of the day, we go to bed and can sleep because we're like, well, this is the season 6 that God wanted to get made. Otherwise, we would have found a way to shoot those 40 pages, you know? So I think even I remember in season 2, in the finale when the women are trying to choose a color of sash for Jesus to wear to give the Sermon on the Mount. They're one of them's yellow, one of them's blue, one's purple, and I had written a line that was like really, really poetic, and Dallas, of course, thought it was too poetic, but was willing to give it a try. And Yaz, as Rama, tried the line, and it's Dallas's instinct was correct. Like it was just a little bit too flowery of a sentence. And I was standing there and he looked at me and he shook his head. He's like, I'm sorry, we can't do it. And that was the first time that I felt like, because I think in times before I would get pretty offended and have to like work it out, like walk it off and give it 24 hours and be like, I'm fine. And in that moment I was like, yeah, you know what? That wasn't supposed to be the line. So I don't want to be overly, whatever about it. But I do think we can rest easy knowing that the version that gets made is the version that God wanted.
No, amen. I agree. Like I think you're spot on. And just to see, like, I think all of us, it's just cool to see how even you guys, as the writers, where you're not on set as much, and like we don't have as much involvement. We've seen so much growth from the crew and from everybody, but to hear that you're growing too, of like the fact that like the first time he would say something, you're like, that hurts, I got to walk it off. But then you get to the point where you're like, you know what? No, this is what it's supposed to be. This feels right. Like I get it. That's cool. That's really cool to hear. And I bet most people don't know. I don't know if this is public knowledge that you guys had to cut your babies, as they call it, 40 pages.
Kill our darlings.
Yeah,
killed our darlings.
40 pages out of season 6. I'm sure you don't know this, Ben, but yeah, we had to cut 40 pages before we started for season 6.
Gosh, we would have just gotten back yesterday from shooting.
Yeah, literally.
True.
Gosh.
That's
Full
true.
episode.
I mean, props to you guys for making such a huge, epic, amazing season. It was like, there's no way we can do it. It's so big.
No, we
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So you guys talk about walking like out of a dream and onto set and seeing these amazing set pieces. Probably can't say anything. I don't even know if you've thought of it yet. But have you thought about the shift of going from the New Testament to the Old Testament in a couple of years, doing Moses? Like, have you thought about that at all? Or is there anything you can say about it? Any sort of preparation? Because I know those are going to be like cool set pieces and it's going to feel more fantastical. Probably nothing you can say right now about prepping for that or thinking about it.
I can tell you this. I can tell you that.
This is such thin ice, Ryan. I'm amazed at you.
Hold on a second. Wait. Hold on. Does Adam know
I'm
this?
amazed.
I don't know this.
Keep going, Ryan. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm amazed at your bravery.
Well, I'm not going to give you any context, but I can tell you that the Old Testament it's Tyler Thompson's backyard. Tyler Thompson is a Hebrew Bible scholar, and it is one of his lesser known skill sets. Maybe I don't know if it's lesser known, but we know him as a wordsmith, as a poem, as a writer of rhythm, as a dramatist. But he's also a Hebrew scholar. We are going to take the same approach, the same loving approach. We're going to use the same lens on the Old Testament. But here's the thing, guys, is that once we get in there, and Sam, you can relate to this, we're writing about characters that don't have all the things that we have today. So we have to start to chip away at what we thought we knew before we went into those stories, or maybe what we even knew when we read them the first time. We already knew the New Testament existed the first time we went back and read the Old. These are characters who exist long before the law. These are characters that exist long before salvation, as we come to know it in the New Testament. These are characters who, as it's described in the book of Judges, did what they felt was right in their hearts. And so we are sort of looking to apply a sort of, a 21st century audience lens on these old stories. And these are, we're talking about like the Mount Rushmore heroes of our faith. And to go and try to treat them as fairly as we treat the disciples. And,
Right.
as Faulkner said, no more, we love them no more or no less than God, which just means that if they got vices, they're gonna learn a lesson. If they treat people badly, they're gonna learn a lesson. But gosh, we're gonna try every way we can to introduce them clearly,
Right.
and as truly as we can from those pages. So it's a thrilling challenge. That's what I find. Tyler, what do you have to say about that?
It's everything you said. I think audiences are going to need to read their own Bibles to acquaint themselves with just what a kind of primal situation these people were in, before the Ten Commandments, before the law, before any command even to worship only one God. When Moses goes up on the mountain and he gets the Ten Commandments, the first one is a command not to worship other gods, but to have only one. And the only reason that command would be given is because it hadn't been given before. And so this idea, that these characters like Moses, Joseph, Jacob, that they were always, this idea that they were always monotheists is incorrect. Like they were people who sort of existed in a world where it's like, yeah, it seems like there are a bunch of gods, but ours is the best one, or ours is the most powerful. And then you get Moses in Sinai, and he says, "Nope, just me." Like you gotta get rid of all the idols. Why is there a command not to worship idols if that's not something that they were already doing? In fact, they were literally worshiping an idol down the hill with the golden calf when he got that commandment. So I think understanding what a wild west of a world these people were in is going to be an adjustment for the audience, because
Yeah, no
you
kidding.
step into the
Wow.
Chosen, and they have religion, they have They observe Shabbat. They observe like cleanliness laws. These people didn't have any of these things. Like they didn't have priests. They didn't have Pharisees. They don't have all these sects. There are no religious leaders because there is no religion yet. And so stepping into this pre-religion world, this pre-organized faith thing, it's just kind of it's wild the way that we sort of judge some of these characters' actions, but we're like, against what? There were no commandments to disobey. So it'll be an adjustment, but I think we're up for it.
So you talked about, Ryan, at the beginning, the three of you coming together to start writing the first 4 episodes and how it was a mess and you just kind of figured out it shouldn't have worked, but then it worked. So tell me about where you're at now. Season 6 is done. You guys are currently writing season 7. What is the process now and how is it different than when you wrote those first 4? And how is it better and how does it work? How's the workflow now?
The process to writing season 7 was remarkably similar to what we did in season 1.
Okay.
After we figured it out, we grooved a pattern. I would say it is almost identical to what we did in season 2. Now, here's the big killer change for us is just like we know with our production team that you guys are going to meet every challenge, that you are going to have meaningful conversations about how to get the best out of the resources that we have and to turn these scripts into something compelling and artistically innovative. The 3 of us know each other like we're brothers. And the trust that I have in, just because he's on the call right now, in Tyler is I trust him 100% with all the things that I don't do, with all the things that I can't do, with all the things that he's better at than me at. I trust Tyler to do things that I also do and to come with an equal, if not better, take on how an outline should be, or on a cinematic set piece, or a piece of action. And so I think the 3 of us have not only learned what each other's strengths are and come to trust those things, I think that just by working together, we've taught each other so much that, in some ways we now share those skill sets, and it's up to us to sort of continue to push in what Dallas is comfortable directing, in what Tyler is comfortable sketching out in terms of character, in terms of what I'm comfortable with organizing a plot. The guys are certainly up to speed on everything, and they're the best writers I know. Tyler's the best writer I know. So that's a huge difference when we first meet. We're like, it's all very cordial, and you're like, is it cool if you take the first draft? I'll handle the outlines, and we'll change the names after we get the notes back. You're trying to give each other space and be appropriate with your collaborators. Now it's just like, yeah, I'm giving it to the best writer I know, and I'm going to get back a version that is going to challenge me. And Dallas on the other end of me is going to really push me to elevate what my first or second or third iteration of it would have been, to find the new way in. So it's pretty awesome because it's never been like a broken, I don't know, like you know how you there's something in your house that's broken, like the downstairs lights don't turn on like at the switch, so you have to like go over and plug the lamp in.
Yeah.
We've never had it. We've never let a system lie like that.
No,
we've never let any part
Yeah.
of our process just sit and like work around it. Even when it was Dallas, like, I don't like reading scripts. Do a change draft for me. Remember? So he'd just be like, I don't want to see the whole thing. I just want to see the actual words that changed. So we would do these drafts for him. Totally reasonable. This is a guy who's not only launching the Chosen universe and business and directing the episodes. He was like this. But at a certain point, he was like, I'm not going to do that to you guys. I'm just not. I'm right in the trench with you. Don't just Like, and you know what we do? We give him a change draft because we love him, and he's doing all those other things anyway. But
Yeah.
it was really nice to know he didn't make us do it.
Yeah.
I do have, it's kind of a double-sided question here, but if in any universe, or maybe it's a dream project that you said, okay, this is something that I've always wanted to write, that before my career ends, this I have to write a project like this. What kind of project is that? But then the other side of that is, and maybe it's in the same vein, but what is something from the Bible that you want to do as a Chosen spinoff that maybe hasn't been talked about yet? Or maybe it has been talked about, but we can't talk about that specifically. I don't know. But story or character or something like that you're interested in.
Ryan, I know you've got some Bible spin-offs that no one would expect.
I have a couple things that, you know, I mean, does everybody who watches your show sign an NDA?
Nope.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So
You know
just
what?
say them all, and then what we'll do is we'll bleep the ones that we're not allowed to share.
Guys, I really want to do Nehemiah as Ted Lasso.
This is the one I was thinking of. He's been on this Nehemiah as Ted Lasso thing for so long. It has to happen. It has to happen.
This is what I wanted to hear. This is incredible.
Go back and look at that chapter. It's just full of bumper stickers like spend your money right the first time and it'll be like you saved it. Hard work is hardly working. Get your teams together first, and you'll find the teamwork leads the day. Like, it's crazy. This guy had sunshine coming out of his butt, and he was like the right hand of Herod, and he's like, I don't know, man. I'm going to leave this comfort, this creature comfort, this 24-hour a day catered lifestyle to go and you know, as arrows are raining down, like get like this misfit group of people to rebuild the temple in 28 days. We might have to create a situation where like he actually didn't want this job. The truth is, I'm curious to hear what Tyler has to say, because if I could do anything right now, and I know you're listening, Tyler, I don't mean to embarrass you, but like if I could do anything right now, it would be to be that Christine Vachon or that producer who just like fights through the muck to get whatever Tyler wants to make as his passion project made.
That's incredible.
So Tyler, what is that? What
Yeah,
project
Tyler, let's
is
hear
that?
it. Let's get into it.
You know, the crazy thing that's so you're amazing, Ryan. I love you. I only want to, well, whatever. We don't have to make this a love fest. I think what's crazy is that when you ask Ben that question about, you know, what is the one thing you want to do? The insane thing is that it has been this. Like, this is what I wanted to do. And like, as we've been writing, as we're, you know, wrapping up season 7 and I'm on the final episode and these are the final moments. Like, this is super morbid, but I've often thought, like, as soon as I turn this in, like, I can die, because this is all I want. I can die in peace. Like, this is what I wanted to achieve. And everything after this, honestly, is great. It's coasting. It's just, it's denouement. It's like, it's whatever happens. So I have given, and Ryan has too, and Dallas, like, we have given our everything to this, and we are leaving it all on the field. And people ask me this all the time, like, what are you going to do after The Chosen, and what's the thing you're dying to do? And I feel crazy being like, this is it. Like, I will do something after this, and I have ideas, and I'm interested in other ancient texts, like some of the Greek tragedies. I'm a big fan of Antigone. I have an Antigone adaptation that's set in Indiana, in a religious community that I really want to do, but someday we'll see. And with the Bible stories, I'm actually just writing on Ryan's coattails, like I don't know why we have to bleep that, Ryan. Is that so secret that someone will steal it?
It's not a secret.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to steal that.
Go ahead. Do it.
I'm just like, I want to be in the writer's room on that with Ryan, because he has such a clear vision of it. That I'm like, I think that's what I will say of all the Bible properties. I mean, this is not secret. We have Moses slated. We're filming Joseph right now. I'm headed to set next week. And we are talking about acts and things like that, there is a tiny, and I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a very little known chamber piece of a story that's tucked away in Second Samuel, and it's about a person with a disability, and it's a really really beautiful story, and most people who don't know it, and it's so tucked away in Second Samuel that you could miss it. Like you could, I mean, if you're reading through Second Samuel, you'll notice it, but this character is not one of the most famous Bible characters, and it's tricky because Erwin and them are doing their House of David thing, and I'm almost positive they won't like go down this rabbit trail of a story when they get to this juncture of David's life. But it's like it's this story that's kind of happening adjacent to David, and it's really gorgeous. And I can't say anything more about it because it's one of those that I'm hoping Dallas will let me do, let me write a feature of. But if you're curious, just read Second Samuel, and if you run across a story about a person with a disability that's really moving and remarkable, then you'll know what it is.
Nice.
Yeah, basically, hey,
That's
go
awesome.
read your Bible, and then you can get the spoiler.
I don't like it.
So something we ask everybody. It might be a little different for you and Ryan and Tyler, but what has been one of your, and you can do one or both, what's been one of the most funniest, fun moments you've had? I would say either in the writer's room, like I know you guys do like a writer's retreat, or with Dallas, in the writer's room, or on set. And I know you guys have been on set quite a bit and got to witness quite a few scenes. What's been one of the funniest moments, or just crazy, like what in the world, and then also impactful, that you just blew you out of the water? So it could be either in the writer's room or on set.
On set, I'm sure someone has taken this one, but the thing that jumps out as being so funny to me was, do you remember in season 2 when we were filming in Texas and the weather was always like snowy or rainy or cold and mud, and something, I don't remember what precipitated it, but Akis had to go to Walmart and buy jeans. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And he bought like mom jeans, like they were,
Yes.
so, and
Yes.
it looked like Dallas and I could not keep a straight face. Like,
Oh, Dallas made sure everyone knew that day. And yes, Dallas revealed that here on the podcast too. Yes, Dallas had to talk about it.
Well, then that one's been taken.
No,
That's
but it's
that's the
great.
one
It's so great to hear it from somebody else too. That just doubles down. I love it.
well, because when you said what's me, that's the only time I remember like that kind of laughing, like so uncontrollably, like laughing in church or whatever, where you're just like, I can't stop. That's the only time I know you guys would have so many more.
Well, this last season, we were shooting a scene, and someone brought it up when Akis wasn't in the room because he was on set setting something up. And we're laughing about it, and Akis walks in, and he sees my dad laughing, and he immediately goes, "Are we talking about the jeans right now or something? What are we?" Like,
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah, he knew what it was.
Talking about the jeans.
Yeah, Dallas brings it up pretty much every week to Aki's
Okay.
that they're filming.
So it's canon. This is not like a deep cut. This is
Akis,
okay.
Akis usually dresses like the coolest person in the room, but he has his moments where we're like, "What are you doing?"
Right. Yeah, it's because he dresses so cool that it was so like surprising to see him in those jeans.
Yeah.
But and then impact wise, there's just like too many to count. But the one that stuck out in my mind the most, is actually not the walking on water. It wasn't the spectacle of Jonathan and Shahar on the mats, in the tank in the middle of the night. It was the most moving thing to me, what were striking really, was when all that died down and he's back in the boat and he was, holding him and crying and saying, "Don't let me go, don't let me go." Because it was, you guys remember that tank, it was quieting down, and like it had been raining and they turned off the rain, they turned off the wind, they turned off the waves. And I didn't have cans on, so I could only hear Shahar crying. And actors, they source things from their own lives and from their own experiences, something they went through, somebody they lost, a time they felt desperate or hopeless. And to this day, it kind of haunts me, the sound of the sounds that Shahar was making, because I was like, this isn't acting. We'll never know, and he'll never tell us, and he shouldn't. But I was like, this is someone thinking about or remembering something unspeakable. It was that gut wrenching. Do you guys remember that? Like how visceral
Mm.
that those tears were? I mean, the actors, especially after season 6, they've been crying for a whole summer. But like that scene in
Yeah.
particular, that kind of tears I've never heard before in my life, and I hope never to again. It was truly devastating. And I felt for Shahar, whatever he was remembering or thinking about in that moment, whatever he was sourcing or pulling from to get to that place, it was so much more devastated than we'd even imagined it could be on the page.
Mhm.
But that sticks out to me.
Ryan, do you
Well,
have one?
that's sobering. Nothing that cool.
No.
One of the funnier moments was not funny at the time. You guys have been there for so much of set. I'll give you a moment from the third writers retreat. No, second writers retreat. We were doing season 2, and we had this great shorthand going. We had been through this before. We had met in the red basement with the pooping dog, and then we met this couple that came down with Thor's hammer, and they were like, "Hey, we could send you to our 168-acre ranch right on the Deschutes River in Oregon. We'll set you up in a 3-story cottage that is 10,000 square feet and has glamping right on the river if you want to do that at night."
And you're like, no, we'll just stay in the red basement. We're good here. Yeah.
And we were like,
No,
does cell service work? And they were like, nah, it's kind of spotty. And we were like, we'll take it because, got Dallas off his phone. He wasn't responding to Facebook comments. And
or fantasy football.
And we're out there and we're on day 2.5. And this guy, I'm not even kidding you. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We've been staring at the same bluff and the what do they call that? The riffle.
The riffle. Yeah.
Where this little the river comes down and it's still got some speed, but it gets really shallow and it just kind of moves in the shimmery way over the rocks, and that's where you catch you do fly fishing and stuff. And in walks this guy. He's got store-bought jeans on, like a t-shirt, and he's got a camera.
Oh, this was crazy.
And he just starts circling the room. No words. Doesn't say anything. Just walks in, is videotaping us. And I'm like, who the frick is that guy?
No, guys, he said it out
Dallas
loud.
is like, oh, that's Colin. He goes to my church.
I knew it was going to be Colin.
I'm like, what is he doing here? I'm going to give bad ideas. We're going to memorialize our crappy ideas. I'm going to hold back.
So
I'm not going to do this. We can't do it with cameras. And Dallas was like, well, I think it can work. And so, welcome to the Chosen, where everything you do, everything is mic'd. You've got a BTS camera on everything you do from the moment you wake up.
Oh, dude, Ryan, that is so good.
I've since become very fond of Colin, but that first meeting, I don't even think he came out from behind his camera. He was watching me go, "Who are you? Who are you?" And he's just behind the camera, like, "I'm Colin. I go to church with Dallas."
Because he literally said it out loud.
funny.
Colin was filming around the room, and Ryan stopped what we were doing. He goes, "Who is that guy?" It was so confrontational. He said it out loud. It wasn't just in his mind. He asked Dallas point blank, as if Colin didn't have ears or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna text Colin right now and get this video. It's just gonna be Ryan and the camera going, "Who are you?
Gosh, yeah, who is that guy?
Yeah.
Are you okay if we show that video, Ryan?
Sure. If he has it, that would be great. I'd love to see it. I think I was wearing a cowboy hat. And I was like, who are you? What are you doing here? Dallas, we can't.
But it is hilarious, and it's just like Dallas to go to just add someone to come film and not say a word to you guys about it, and just oh yeah, this guy's filming us today. What? You didn't want to inform us?
We were in Egypt, and all of a sudden this guy walks in, and Dallas knew, he just comes in out of the desert. It was
That's
crazy. Anyway, that was a sort of, very chosen moment. We do a lot of things that, we keep our audience very attached. The sort of, what the heck is going on moment was the one that, Dallas has talked about ad nauseum, about the clearing of the lake when we had no time left
fog.
in a scene we had to get. That you guys, it was ridiculous, right? The fog was so bad and so consistent. I grew up in Minnesota where there's changes in weather. Fog burns off eventually. This thing wasn't going anywhere. It was
the craziest
under
thing
the
I've ever
sun's
seen.
rays. It had already been high sun, and the sun was already setting.
Yeah.
And the fog hadn't gone anywhere. In fact, it had just maybe intensified in places.
Yep.
They had called off a boat race.
Hmm.
They had called off like something that was happening around the lake. And we were just like, okay, so what do we do? We're gonna and Dallas finally just went, just go back to the hotel, and we're gonna rewrite this scene. We'll try to include elements of it in the next scene. It'll all be indoors. We're just gonna lose all of this. I got in my car. I drove the 35 miles back from Joe Pool to where we're staying, which was one of the Chosen houses. No, it was before Chosen houses. Staying at some maybe Fairfield or whatever. And I get there, and I got like the Apollo 13 Moonlander crew, like on the other. We're doing it, man! It's happening. The sun burned off. Don't even worry about it. Just hangs up, and I'm like, is there a fire? Like, I had no idea what had just happened. And sure enough, the story eventually trickled in that I must have been 100 yards down the road, and the fog just started to go, because somebody was messing around on a mini bike that day. Maybe it was Willie. Mm-hmm. And they were like tooling. He was tooling around with somebody on the parking lot as I left, signaling we're done working for the day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we have videos of Dallas riding. He was way too big for that thing. We have videos of Dallas riding it. It was it was actually Kyle's.
I didn't imagine
Kyle's
that. So that was the darndest thing. And then as far as impact, I was there when we shot the leper in season 1 for episode 106. And I don't know if you remember that, but we were just in some tall weeds. We kind of Video Village was kind of like set, just off. We weren't behind some feature or anything. We pretty much had a straight shot of that guy, and that actor must have brought 14 takes of weeping in joy. And Jonathan, I think, this was the first time he was getting this taste of it back. I don't know. Like, Jonathan will have his own narrative about this, but like the energy that guy was bringing, who was being healed again and again and again, and I swear by about the 7th take, I started to cry, and by the 14th, it was just like this continuation. It was just I almost couldn't stop it. It was really incredible. You had the feeling like, this is what it would be like to be there for a miracle, and that's always the impact. Tyler can back this up. We've always just kind of been like, what if we could make the show, make the audience feel like it feels to read the Bible, like, but to actually like its impact and authority, which we can never synthesize. But like to take you there and to know what it means for a character, because you've seen them in hard times, when God touches them, or when Jesus offers grace to somebody who's suffered for so long, and really like make those things that we can never earn because they're acts of grace, feel like they're the answer to a prayer. And so like that was it was a feedback loop that was just like, it was incredible.
Yeah, I think it definitely goes without saying that you guys are very unique in terms of most writers, where I think a lot of TV shows, say for Mike White shows or Taylor Sheridan shows, it's one writer doing everything and it's his vision. But it's 3 of you guys, but it's clear the roles that you two serve, and I don't think it's once in a lifetime kind of thing to witness. Are the way you two write, the way you two deliver a show, and I don't think we'll see quite a similar style like that for a very long time. So I think it goes without saying for many people that you two are some of the greatest writers working in television right now, and it's a little underappreciated because I wish you guys were up on stage collecting your Emmys, and maybe someday you will be once we actually go DGA and it becomes an Amazon Prime show and we're eligible. But you guys are absolutely incredible, and it's answering all these questions. We're just like, we could ask 100 of them, but it's been amazing.
Thanks, Sam. Back at
Thanks,
you guys.
Yeah, Ryan, Tyler.
Update.
Yeah. Like, it's such a fun conversation, guys. Thanks for sharing. I love hearing the writer's room story, and stuff that we're not a part of, and the stuff that you do come to set and talk and get to see with us. Such a pleasure, man. I love listening to you both, and you're so well spoken, which makes sense because you're writers. So teach me how to do that better too, because I'm not. I still put like in front of everything. Like this, like that. So. I need you guys to teach me that.
People trust you.
And teach Adam how to stop mumbling on walkie.
Yeah. Well,
don't believe it.
Maybe.
But no, thank you guys. This has been amazing, and we want to thank you for having
Chosen the Brosen.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. You guys are awesome.
Appreciate it. See you.
Thanks, guys.